There are ghosts that haunt. Ghosts that hunt.
Whoa!
And ghosts that kill.
I knew without a doubt this house was haunted.
The next thing I knew, they were screaming something about a beast. He was trying to lure me into those woods. And suddenly I felt this electric burning feeling. My name is Catherine Driver. I don't think there is any way that you can plan for something to attack you. I felt like I was going to die. And I felt like it was going to be by the hands of something that I couldn't see.
Almost there. I promise I'll let you out of the car really soon.
I moved back to Indiana to help my parents renovate and sell their home. My parents bought the house in Flat Rock when I was a teenager, and they lived in the house until a new job took my father to another city.
Almost there, Chloe.
They tried to sell the house, but no one bought it, so it was left vacant for 6 years. My father had recently retired, and I did not want him fixing up the house by himself. The house had always been a little creepy. Even when I was a teenager, I remember strange things happening. In the very beginning, I wasn't scared of it, but that changed one night. I had a bunch of my friends from college over at the house. They thought it was pretty cool that I had a ghost in my house, and they wanted to experience it for themselves. So they decided to get out a Ouija board.
We're trying to find out who's hunting your house.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Okay, if you're gonna do that, I'm gonna go in the kitchen. I want nothing to do with it.
I didn't want to have any part of it, so I went away while they were all gathering around the table.
I think you just put your 2 pointer fingers on it and ask it a question, and it just goes. Are there spirits in this house? B. Are you moving it? No. E. A. S. T.
The next thing I knew, they were screaming something about a beast.
Oh my God, it's still moving. Are you moving it? No.
But after that, it started spelling something out even worse.
E. A. T. H. Did you move it? No, you moved it. Mom, I'm moving it. I was barely touching it. Spell that out. We have to go. Guys, okay?
Guys?
My mother was very sweet, and she said everything should be fine, not to worry.
It's late. They're tired out. They're gonna call you tomorrow.
Oh, I know, but what if there is something in the house?
There's nothing in this house.
Well, what if there is?
Well, do you remember what Grandma used to say?
Yeah.
But why don't we just say it together and let
Mom.
I always felt safe with my grandmother. And when I remember my grandmother, I think of a certain mantra that I was taught when I was 4 years old.
It'll make you feel better.
White light,
light, bright light. Please protect me both day and night. White light, bright light. Please protect me both day and night.
I had absolutely no idea that one day those words would actually save my life. Coming back to this house after it had been vacant for years, The first thing that hit me was this really horrible smell. It smelled like death. It was a lot worse than I expected. There were mice, and unfortunately, quite a few of them had passed away. I knew I was in over my head. I couldn't stay in the house, and I needed a cleaning service.
The drivers needed help getting the house in shape to be sold, so they called me and Vicky.
When I first saw the house, I was excited to come in because it's a gorgeous house and it's an old house.
Did you feel that?
Yeah, I got goosebumps.
As soon as I walked in that door, I got goosebumps all over. And I told Cassie, I said, this house is not right.
You feel it?
I had that feeling that somebody was right behind me, like somebody was watching over my shoulder.
I was working in the kitchen, polishing the refrigerator. And I seen a figure go through the little hallway into the laundry room. Well, I thought it was Cassie.
Cassie, when you're finished in there, come and help me in the kitchen. Cassie! Oh!
But then Cassie walked in from the dining room, the complete other direction than the laundry room.
Did you just walk through?
No, I've been working in the dining room.
The look on Vicky's face, you could tell she was scared. It was kind of a blank look, confused.
If Cassie wasn't the person I saw walking into the laundry room, then who was it? After that, we made extra sure that the doors were locked when we left.
The next time I went into the house, as soon as I walked inside, the hair stood up on my arms. I could see footprints that started in the middle of the library and came to the door. The footprints were butted straight to the door, but they stopped. They didn't go anywhere. I knew the house was locked, and no one had been in there since I'd left previously.
Oh my God.
And I heard somebody tell me, get out. Somebody was right there. I knew without a doubt this house was haunted.
You couldn't pay me enough to stay in that house.
After that happened, Vicky and Cassie stopped coming to the house. I needed to move back into the house. It was the first night sleeping in the house when the dream started. I could see a man running through the woods. He had a gray suit. He was well dressed, like he was right out of the 1800s. He was handsome, but he had a desperate look on his face. He kept muttering, "What have I done? What have I done? How do I fix it? How do I fix it?" And this was a dream that I had repetitively. At first, I didn't know what to think about this man. But then one night, I had the dream, and I woke up suddenly. As I woke up, the room was just freezing. And I turned my head. It was the same man from my dream that was standing next to my bed. I always knew that something was living in my family's house, but when I moved back to make renovations, it became violent. stood there. And then the gray suit just disappeared into the blackness of my room. Right after that, my cat Chloe came purring into the room. She jumped up on the bed and started to curl up next to me. And that gave me some comfort to fall back asleep. The next day, after having the dream, I took a walk. We have a lot of acres here that I love to go walking in, and I noticed that there was someone standing in the woods.
Hello?
And as I got closer, I started to realize that the man really resembled the man in my dream. My heart was just racing.
Hello?
I was all goose pimply and charged. And I knew that it was a message of some sort. He started to walk into the woods. I felt like he wanted me to follow him, but I was very nervous. At first, it seemed as if he was right in front of me.
Hello?
And then he just disappeared. Once he disappeared, everything just felt dark and heavy and scary. I felt like someone was there, and I couldn't tell where they were. I couldn't tell if they were behind me, to the side. I knew that I wasn't alone, but I couldn't find them. Suddenly, I felt as if someone was shoving my shoulder over this electric burning feeling. And I ended up spraining my wrist pretty badly. But what really scared me is when I realized that where I fell was exactly the same place the man was in my dream. This was a warning. And you know, I wish I would have listened. After the attack, I started to do some research so I could figure out who this ghost might be. I wanted to find out how far back things went. I discovered the area had a darker history. I was able to find out that there was an old sulfur springs running through the area. Then in the 1800s, there was an underground explosion. And apparently 2 people perished. When I found out that people had actually died in that explosion, I wondered about seeing a man running through the woods dressed like he's from the late 1800s.
Oh my God.
And if that had anything to do with what happened. I'm not sure if the man in the gray suit is attached to me in some way, or to the house or the woods. But what I didn't know is how far he would go to make me leave. Through that time, my cat Chloe became very skittish. There were times that she would just stop and she would just look and then she would run. And that wasn't something that was typical for her. I think Chloe had become aware of something very insidious, very dark. That morning, I woke up and I just felt very on edge and very off. You know, that bad feeling when you know something's about to happen, but you don't know what that bad thing is.
Chloe!
And I was trying to find Chloe.
Chloe!
And I couldn't find her anywhere. So I grabbed the cat treats.
Chloe?
I started walking back over to the side yard.
Chloe?
Everything seemed very unusually quiet.
Chloe?
I was very uneasy.
Chloe? Chloe?
And I saw her lying there.
Chloe?
At first, it didn't register.
Oh my God!
She was ripped apart. The ghost haunting my parents' house had warned me to leave. It was just a matter of time before something else would happen.
Chloe?
When I first looked at her, she was
Chloe?
curled up in her napping position.
Oh my God!
And then when I walked over, I realized that something had had her by the neck. She was bleeding an awful lot. And it was too late. There was nothing here. It made me think about what happened with the Ouija board and the fact that it spelled out the words death and beast. I think it's possible that that Ouija board was warning me. I guess I thought that what this ghost had in store for me couldn't be any worse than what I had already experienced. But I was wrong. That night, as I was trying to fall asleep, I kept hearing someone say cat, cat, over and over again. It was taunting me. All of a sudden, I felt this clutching grip around my throat. Something was pressing on my chest. My neck felt very cold. It felt like I was being shocked around my neck. It was a lot of pressure. I felt like I was going to die. And I just tried to find my last speck of strength that I had inside of me. I started saying the mantra that my grandmother had taught me. And I could finally breathe. I truly believe that the mantra that my grandmother taught me saved my life. I have not had another attack since then, so I'm unsure if what attacked me decided to just back off. Or maybe it was just testing me. So for now, before the house can sell, I'm just trying to stay peaceful, stay positive, as much as I can.
My name is Cam Sammartano. Growing up, my dad used to tell me ghost stories, but I never knew that I would be living my own.
I swear to God, I saw something.
And this is one that you've never heard before.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Do you have any 5s?
I met Cam when he started freshman year of high school in the marching band.
Aces.
We were always partners in crime, always doing fun things.
Are we really playing Go Fish on a Saturday night?
I had just turned 17, and I had just gotten my driver's license a few weeks prior, so I wanted to take Lindsay out on an adventure that would give us a thrill.
What do you want to do?
We loved going on different adventures.
I have my mom's keys. We can go do anything.
How about the mall?
It's gonna close soon.
Movies?
We were thinking of a lot of different ideas.
We could go bowling.
I hate bowling. I do not want to.
But we wanted to do something more exciting.
Oh, no, I've got it. You know that pet cemetery?
Yeah.
I came up with the brilliant idea to take Lindsay and I to an old pet cemetery out in the middle of the Pine Barrens.
My dad says that it's haunted.
Are you serious?
Uh-huh. He says if you go there late at night, you can hear the wails of dead animals.
And you would see eyes glowing. You could hear pets growling. It was supposed to be the creepiest place on earth.
What do you say that we take my mom's car, drive over there, hang out until we hear dead animals screeching at us, and then just come on back before midnight?
I was so stoked to go to this pet cemetery. I mean, I love scary things.
Got the flashlight.
You're such a weirdo.
I had my mother's car, and I wasn't going to tell her where we were going because she would have killed me. But I knew as long as I didn't wreck the car, put any scratches on it, or get a ticket, that I was fine.
Cam, we're in the middle of nowhere. I can barely see anything.
The pet cemetery is located right in the middle of an endless, desolate forest.
This is really creepy.
Are you scared?
No.
When we got to the cemetery, all of a sudden a fog started to roll in.
Excited?
By that point, Lindsay was a little scared to get out.
It was very dark outside, and it just made me nervous. This area definitely looked like something out of a Stephen King novel.
I seriously think there's something over there. What? You hear that?
What?
I think there's something over there.
Don't mess with me.
I'm not.
I did feel like I was in a dangerous place, like I wasn't safe.
I'm gonna go look over there.
Don't wander off too far.
I won't.
I'm serious, Cam. Cam, this isn't funny. Cam? Cam, you jerk! You're not.
No.
Come on.
Did you hear that? While Lindsay and I were walking through the cemetery, we started hearing things in the woods. And we both started to get nervous. Lindsay and I were just looking for a little adventure, but it quickly turned into our own personal horror movie.
Everyone always talks talks about human ghosts. But after this experience, I definitely think that ghost animals exist.
Things were just getting creepy around the cemetery, so we both decided to just head back to the car. We were trying to head back to the main road, and we couldn't find it.
Sure.
We kept seeing the same places over and over.
We've been this way before.
And it was getting late, and I needed to get the car back home to my mother.
I don't know where we are.
We were completely lost.
I think it's back here.
And we kept driving past the pet cemetery. And Lindsay was starting to get worried because she just wanted to get out of there.
I'm just gonna try to back up, okay?
These dirt roads are so narrow. They can barely fit one car as it is.
We're stuck.
So I tried my best at a 3-point turn. I stepped on the gas, but we weren't going anywhere. My wheels were just spinning.
We're stuck.
Oh, God.
Suddenly, I saw something moving. I saw glimpses of something.
Kim, how do we get out of here? Kim!
Oh my God.
What?
I think I saw something.
Kim! Oh my God.
I swear to God, I saw something.
Please get us out of here.
Over there.
What?
Oh my God!
Its fangs were out. It looked like a dog, but this was not a dog. This creature had such force behind his attack that I thought the windshield was going to crack. And it just kept scratching and clawing and pushing.
Cam and I were just both screaming. It rocked the car.
And then it just vanished. How could it just disappear like that? We knew it was still out there. We were hearing noises around us. There was such evil in this creature's eyes that I knew that it wanted to hurt us.
Was it behind us?
I thought Lindsay and I were never going to make it home.
Kim, go!
I thought we were both going to die.
Go!
And I threw the car in reverse, and the tire gripped the ground and got us out. And I put it in drive and just took off through some brush, and all of a sudden we were on the road.
My worst fear was that this creature was just going to come after us and just get at us somehow. It was terrifying.
When we set out to get a little bit of a scare, we never expected that we might be fearing for our lives.
Is it following us?
I can't see it.
I don't remember how I got us back to the main road, but I managed.
We definitely thought that when we looked back, we were going to see the dog chasing us, but it just vanished into thin air.
I drove until I knew we were safe.
My mom is going to kill me when she sees the damage done to this car.
I was dreading looking at the car. I was expecting to see the worst damage I had ever seen in my life. But when I got out there, there was nothing. There wasn't a scratch, there wasn't a dent, there wasn't even any slight sign of dog hair. My jaw dropped because I wanted to know what just happened.
It was on the hood clawing and trying to get in.
If this were a real dog, it would have been impossible for there not to be any marks on the car.
What just happened?
I know it was a ghost. For a long time, I was scared to even talk about the attack because who was gonna believe me? Ghost dogs? I mean, that's crazy. But I was there, and I know what I saw, and I know what I experienced.
My name's Katie Gamache. I thought it would be fun to work at one of the most haunted places in the world over Halloween. I soon realized that the scares didn't come from anyone in a mask.
Eastern State Penitentiary was once the most famous and expensive prison in the world. It opened in 1829. It held some of the most notorious criminals in America. It didn't close until 1971. The prison's been open for tours since the mid-1990s, and there have been hundreds, if not thousands, of ghost sightings here. Every fall, we open up these cell blocks at night for Terror Behind the Walls. It's one of the most popular Halloween events in America.
I'm gonna go into Block A. And at Terror Behind the Walls, I was event staff. 2. Our duties were to be the second eyes to the security team and the cops. This is a perfect job for someone that loves Halloween.
Yeah, you first.
The visitors scream, they close their eyes, and some are so scared that we actually have to escort them out of the property.
I see something.
That wasn't me. I think it came from up there.
The reason I think people get so scared because they get amped up in the atmosphere of it actually being a real prison.
Eastern State Penitentiary was not built for the pleasure of people. It was built to hold them against their will. The people who built this prison wanted to cut off the criminal from all outside contact. And therefore, they built all of Eastern State Penitentiary as a massive, solitary confinement prison. The irony is that prolonged isolation was driving prisoners here insane. There was just such a high volume of death inside of this building that it just sort of infuses the whole history, this constant threat of death.
Working here at the prison, I was definitely creeped out about the atmosphere.
There is something about Eastern State Penitentiary that gets into people's heads. And as you spend time here, it becomes more and more unnerving.
I knew a lot of stories about Eastern State Penitentiary, but nothing too scary happened to me until that night when I was attacked.
When you walk through Eastern State, you find yourself wondering not just if there are ghosts, but what kind of ghosts there are. Imagine the spirit of someone who was confined in a small space for decades and now is stuck there in the afterlife.
was about midnight.
Lots of good scares in?
Everyone was getting off shift.
All right, I'm about to lock up here. You guys heading out then?
Yeah.
They were all going home. I was left alone.
Drive safe.
Yeah, see ya.
Bye.
None of us really like to be here alone. It's just a hard place to be alone after dark.
All you could hear was my footsteps walking down the hallway. On this particular night, the atmosphere in the prison felt very often very creepy. I felt a presence around me and that I wasn't alone. All of a sudden, I see this person show himself in 1920s prison gear. I know it wasn't one of the actors of the Halloween event because it was in the night and everyone's already out of costume. I could see all his features. He just had this dead stare.
Hello?
A very evil, piercing look in his eyes. And then I felt a whiff of cold air come straight past me. And then all of a sudden, he just vanished. I was thinking, did I just see what I just saw? It felt like someone took their hands and violently shoved me down. I was physically attacked by an unseen force. An EMT that we have working at the event came running up the hallway asking if I was okay.
Something pushed me. I don't know what it was.
I told her that a spirit had shoved me down on the ground. The EMT was surprised at first, and then she told me of what happened to her the night before.
I've seen things here before.
She saw a orb floating across in the same area that I was shoved. If someone had not come to help me, this attack would have kept going on. I thought twice about coming back to working here. But the very next night, I went by myself to the cells. I still had a creepy feeling, but I was fine.